everyone. Hi, everybody. Welcome to our Q&A session for this week. Uh, as some of you know, we are on our Module 7 this month, and we're talking about difficulties in relationships, which is definitely a very, very big topic in the field and just for any human in general. And we got two very, very deep questions today that I would love to dive into. So the first question is, my voice coach acts like my mom sometimes, and that triggers me a lot. What can I do? And we're kind of smiling because this is something that we see in our clients all the time.
Mm-hmm.
All these dimensions and all these triggers, and what's sort of coming up for me here is the idea of like projections on authority figures. And of course, I want to know what you think too, but what came up for me is, the idea of being in a voice lesson and maybe there's something that the teacher says that kind of like sounds motherly or sounds like commanding, and the person immediately has like a reaction in their body. Like they react as if they're like, that 7-year old who's told to not leave their toys around. And that just kind of like shifts the entire experience. It's like it starts with a little trigger and then it becomes something else. So what's coming up for me for the person who asked the question is, think about what's happening in your body and think about your association with authority or disassociation with the fact that your teacher reminds you of your mom. Really explore like what's happening. Are you tensing up? Do you feel like you want to hide? How old are you right now? Like really explore it, and then maybe bring yourself back to the present moment using objects. Like if you are present with your voice teacher, which of course doesn't happen for everyone because it's COVID, but if you're with them, use the surroundings of where you're at. And then also, I'm thinking, if it's on Zoom, use something in their background or on their screen that kind of brings you back, almost like using mindfulness, brings you back to the present moment, and remind yourself, this is not my parent. I am not that 7-year old that needs to like gather things. I am right here in this moment with my voice teacher, and see if somatically that shifts, if it helps you separate. This is not because the trigger, the association will go away completely, but it gives you a tool to kind of like step back and be like, no, this is a different situation.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think, Stephanie, about this?
Yeah, I mean, I think all of that. And I think to just kind of piggyback on that, thinking about the triggers and what they are and why they are. So, like, these triggers developed, let's say in childhood, let's say it feels like mom, because of what? Either like a violation of your independence or a violation of your boundaries or in some way you're triggered because this is like an old threat. So I think to go back and to think about that, like really spend some time with that, like what is this trigger and what does it mean about how I feel like I'm being violated? So, for example, let's say your voice teacher has, since we don't have any specific examples from the person who asked the question, let's just say the voice teacher is telling you that you're not doing it good enough and you need to do this to hit that note or something. And it feels like a judgment against you, and you feel like if you can't do it good enough, then you're not valid or you're not justified, or and then if you're not valid or justified, then because your performance, like your validity is based on your performance, or you see like all of these things that
Mm-hmm.
can start coming up that might have been formed in childhood,
Yeah.
like how much love or adoration you received if you performed well versus if you didn't and you didn't feel the love maybe. So
Yeah.
that's just one example, but like going back and seeing what is it about this that feels like it's either violating my values or my boundaries or something.
Mm-hmm.
And then yeah, separating out like okay, this isn't mom. So then recognizing it as an opportunity. Right.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to redo and rework and reprogram triggers with the people where they originated, but this is a really good opportunity for you to start reprogramming that. So recognizing this is a trigger that came from mom. It's the trigger about the same violation of A, B, and
Mm-hmm.
C. But with my voice teacher, and here's where you have to do an assessment. Is this voice teacher good for me? Do I want to continue this relationship? Is this, positive and am I getting what I need out of it and all these kinds of things? If so, then I have an opportunity here to rework this trigger system that
Yeah.
is going to be a little bit easier for me to do than if I was going to try to rework it with mom,
Yeah.
So, okay, like you said, Eliza, this is not mom, separating back from it and realizing, okay, why am I being triggered? And then maybe I can speak up for myself, or maybe I can say what I need
Mm-hmm.
or where my boundaries are, and see if I can kind of like reprogram this.
Yeah. Yeah, I love everything you said. I think the idea of reprogramming is very powerful. And it'll take some time for those of you who are maybe afraid of confrontation, or it's like be gentle with yourself in this
Absolutely.
process.
Yeah, don't do anything that would be uncomfortable for you, but just think about the ways that you can start practicing. Like if you're not if you're a kind of person who has very diffuse boundaries, this is
Mm-hmm.
a good opportunity for you to be like, okay, where can I start setting boundaries about, how much of this is okay and how much of this is like really hurtful and I might need to take a different approach and.
Yeah.
So, not to like force yourself beyond what you're comfortable doing, but to just start maybe challenging yourself to
Mm-hmm.
to stick up for yourself if that's the issue.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I love everything you said. It's funny because I'm having some memories of something that happened to me that's very related, and I'm thinking, yeah, at the time, if I had had tools like our tools now,
Right.
it would have been very helpful. It was one of my first voice teachers in America. She was late all the time.
Mm.
And that's a gigantic trigger for me, lateness. And I
Ah.
was her first student of the day, and she was always between 20 minutes and 30 minutes late.
Wow.
And I never said anything.
Mm.
I wrote
Mm.
it in the teacher evaluations, like she's a great teacher, but she's always late. She's chronically late.
Mhm.
And I couldn't, also I was 18. I was very insecure at the time. I
Right.
hadn't done any healing yet. I mean, I wish I'd had
Yeah.
something like this.
So your awareness back then could have been, oh, this is triggering my abandonment issues or
Yeah.
something, right? Like, okay, so then putting it into context and having the perspective on it. Yeah. Mm.
Yeah. I would have been able to like really, sort of like have a conversation, or
Yes.
figure out slowly, how to express my needs.
Right.
Yeah.
Like this is not okay that you're 20 minutes late every day or every time. Can we can you try to be more prompt or can you schedule me at a different time in the day where you are going to be able to be on time or whatever? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
Hmm.
exactly. Yeah, very interesting how that I hadn't thought
Yeah,
of
and
that in
that's great.
years.
I love when personal experience comes up to the
Yeah.
surface. That's great.
Yeah, yeah, it's so
Yeah.
interesting.
Hmm.
Um yeah, and then the next question we have, which I think is also very profound. I am a musician and I play live. In this new post-COVID world, a lot of stuff is online. I
Mm.
don't have the same interactions with my audience, and I think it's affecting my ability to feel happy. What do I do?
Same girl. That's all I have to say about that. uh, that's my
Oh,
answer to that. Aren't we all? Yeah. Yeah. What
yeah.
what do you have
No, I mean,
about
it
that?
really is. It's interesting, like how many of the experiences that we hear about really kind of like bring us all together because we all have
Yeah.
them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, the thought that I'm having, I mean, first of all, I definitely empathize with this experience. I say really honor yourself,
Mhm.
in this moment, because you're going through a lot as a creative, as a musician, as someone who's used to doing this completely differently.
Mhm.
So I say really, really honor that experience. And then what's coming up for me is what could be helpful, maybe. I'm assuming, all this stuff online could be like the person is playing live and all these comments are coming up and the little
Right.
parts, or maybe
Right.
it's a Zoom performance, who knows.
Right.
Um, I am guessing, yes, it feels disconnected because you have these virtual people there, but behind every virtual click, behind every virtual window, there is a real person.
Mhm.
And maybe the way for you to connect with that is to imagine
Mm.
that person sitting in that chair. What does their, home office or guest bedroom look like,
Mhm.
as they are enjoying your performance? Maybe their dog is coming and sniffing their foot and going away, or their kid is laughing in the background, or their spouse is saying, dinner's almost ready, whenever you're done with.
Mhm.
Or someone else comes in and says, hey, who are you listening to? Or who's playing live right now? So really maybe connect to those details that make them real people.
Mhm.
and and I wonder if that can bring some connection, some coziness, some joy,
Mhm.
and really think that you are bringing them joy.
Yeah.
In this post-COVID world where people feel isolated, they feel they have lost the connection with, their friends and the arts and security.
Mhm.
For one thing, you really are bringing them joy,
Yeah.
in a new way that is maybe even more necessary than it was. I mean, hard to say, but
Yeah.
it's necessary in a different way and in a very, very urgent
Yeah.
way. So I don't know. That's
Yeah.
kind of for
I
me.
mean, I definitely I think that's kind of the only way to go here because it's first of all recognizing and acknowledging the universality of this struggle right now. Like all the artists I know are having this struggle. Artists who are even able to perform, like some who are in shows that have been shut down and they have no way to perform, then, then that's another thing. But this is a universal struggle right now with artists. And I think to just kind of acknowledge how hard it is and grieve it as it's happening because it's real and it's so hard. And so all we can do is the best we can do in this
Mm-hmm.
situation and just kind of acknowledging that this sucks. This is not, why I signed up for this life to do it on a screen.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of us have, as artists, part of the whole thing is being in a room with people and getting that instant gratification of the energy exchange.
Mm-hmm.
And when you don't have that, what do you do? I mean, I think, Eliza, I think what you're saying is really the only way to do it is to try to recreate just for yourself that feeling of that energy exchange. So, however you do that, um, the way that you suggested is great. Imagine where they're watching you from or whatever. There's this great meditation that I love doing, which is you um, tune into the light at your heart center and you really get it glowing. And then you pull out from the back of your body and you see yourself then and you see the heart center light. And then you pull up from above your house and you see the heart center light in you above your house. But then you also notice all the other heart center lights of the people in the houses or apartments or whatever in your neighborhood. And then you expand out even more and you see more lights. This is a meditation that I do often when I want to feel more connected, when I feel actually disconnected in life. And it really helps me just feel more connected to humanity. So you might want to do, and Eliza, what you're saying is kind of, it's the same premise. Um,
This is
but
beautiful, though.
yeah, but if you imagine yourself in that moment, and this could even be a meditation that you do before you do your online show or whatever, where you imagine your heart light center, and then you wherever your people are around the world, or you just imagine these locations, you find the heart light centers wherever they are, and then you just kind of like plug into them through the network. And then you begin your show. And at least then you feel like you've got that energetic connection going to wherever your audience members or recipients or people on the other end are.
I love that. I think that's beautiful. Yeah.
So, yeah, but honestly, it's hard and everybody's struggling with this. And so just do the best you can. However you can feel the connection to the best of your ability, because ugh, this sucks. It just sucks. Like, there's no
Yeah.
other way around it.
Yeah. It really does. And then it's like whenever we think it's over, it starts again, and then it's
Right,
over, and then it starts again. And different countries are having different phases.
right.
It's yeah,
It's
it's really a
horrible.
lot.
Yeah. So, like, really acknowledge that, and let yourself grieve it however you need to grieve it, and then do whatever you need to do to feel connected. It's all about the feeling of connection. That's why we do art anyway. Why are we even
Yeah.
on a stage with an audience? It's about feeling connected as humans. We're all in this thing together. Nobody knows why we're here or what the hell we're doing. But, like, if I can play this song and you can connect with it and we can have this energy exchange, we can feel like there's a reason or a purpose or something for us to all
Hmm.
be here in this moment doing this, right? So, if that's the original intention of you being a performing artist, how can you recreate this in this horribly difficult way to create it that goes against everything that helps create that energy exchange? Like, it's a flat screen. We don't have 3D here. It's just a flat screen. And a lot of times with sound, usually if you're in a room with the audience, you can hear them as well, and but this is like a one-way thing. You hear your music going out, but you don't hear the audience. You can see little hearts popping up on the screen, but then that
Yeah.
can be distracting too.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, stay with it and try to
Yeah.
feel as connected as you can.
Yeah. At least we know we're all in it together. I mean, even with
Exactly.
the events that we do, it's like little hearts and stuff. And
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. It's what a world.
Just do your best. We're all just doing our best here. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you for your wonderful questions. And if you need anything, we're here.
Mhm.
As you
Reach
all know,
out.
you can reach us at montibianchi.com or on our social media. And thank you for having these conversations with us.
Yeah, thanks for the questions.
Yeah. Bye bye, everybody.
Bye.